Okay, welcome to another episode of Red Lotus Life. I'm so excited today because I feel like we're finally landing some things and say yes to soul.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey over the last couple of months. I'm really excited because so much has come into my awareness around just the themes that were coming up in the space.
hmm I know. I feel like it's finally landing. We're going to be able to talk about some things, and I'm just super excited. But preface for anyone who's watching this, I've been having some internet connection issues. So if you see me freeze, don't worry. Sarah's going to stay on. I'll pop right back in. If Sarah freezes or pops off, that's something else too, because right now she's having a tornado warning. So there's a thing, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to go through this because this is what happens with Red Lotus Life. We just show up, right?
Yep, we show up and we do our thing and we show up authentically and whatever happens, happens. So we just get back up and do it again.
hmm Yeah, it's kind of funny because I'll get more into the intro here in a second, but like the last time, what we recorded a whole episode, and it totally deleted itself, and we're just like, well, guess it wasn't meant to be heard.
Yep, it wasn't meant to be heard at that moment. And you know what? It's because we just quite weren't we weren't landed yet. You
I know,
know, we just weren't supposed to be.
I
It was
know.
not in alignment.
That was like a whole blooper reel because we had just done a clear. So it was like, okay, take one. All right, take two, take three. And usually we just take one, that's it.
Right, exactly. Oh, we totally need to put the blooper reels out at some point. It's
I
funny.
know. Okay, so here we are, Red Lotus Life. This is where we provide resources and tools to create a life that we love. And we talk about all different kinds of things. Today, we are going to be talking about what's happening in Say Yes to Soul. We are actually in the middle of the spirituality clear. So we just barely integrated all of it. We're actually starting to wrap it up. It's like the last 2 weeks. We're just integrated it. Now we're implementing what we've learned to fully embody it. And it's been crazy because the emotion block was a role and the emotion was shame. It was in the area of others to self. And so we literally had shame projected onto us from other people at the age of 12. But the thing that I wanted to share here real quick before we get into it is that as spiral practitioners and with the spiral modality, it can be either a loop or a roll. So it can be the emotional block, the limiting belief can either be something that's looping throughout your life, a pattern, or it can be a roll. And the roll is really cool because it's only activated and triggered when we're playing that role. And so it's not like all the time. It's only when
Mhm.
we're playing that role. And so it's really cool to actually identify like what role are we playing? What archetype have we been embodying since the age of 12? Because that's what the age was.
Mhm.
How has it been running our lives? And then it's really amazing when we shift that role into one that actually supports our intention. I mean, the empowerment that comes from that is huge. So, we're going to have a conversation today. We're not sure where it's going to go. We're just going to talk about it and just see because so many profound aha moments have been happening in Say Yes to Soul with the members. This is where we do our own work with everyone else as well. And so for us, we've just been like, oh my gosh, like for me, I have been just shifting and landing and realizations and connecting dots and just all of this stuff. And so today I can most definitely talk about it. But as always, I'm here with Sara Elizabeth Hoffman. She's my co-host here and co-creator of Red Lotus Life. She's also there with us in Say Yes to Soul. And it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing. And I say that every time I do my own work with the spiral modality, it's like, holy cow, the version of me that comes out on the other side is a totally different version.
Oh, it's always a completely and totally different version, and we never know like what we're going to clear and who we're going to show up as next. I mean, it's just a like that evolution that continues to happen over the course of our journeys. And also, I wanted to just say really quickly, we actually our clear this month was not on spirituality, it was intimate and romantic relationships. Just to clarify.
Yes, it was. See, maybe I'm not quite landed yet. That was the last one. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Intimate and romantic relationships. Yes. And the
Yeah.
context was the intimate relationship to self.
Yes, exactly. And so, yeah, that's one of my favorite aspects of this clear and the work that we've done in the container up until this point is that where intimate and romantic relationships are concerned, we shifted our focus to intimacy with self and how we show up in our new role. What we found was these exiled parts of ourselves that needed to be called back home, like called back into our auric field, and how being like the shadow of compromise and being compromised at a young age, at that age of 12, has impacted us throughout our lives. It has been continuing to show up anytime we're in a role that would be a relationship and others to self.
Yeah, it's been really, really amazing. It's crazy because, well, I love that you're bringing up like the exiled parts because, yeah, it's where we have compromised. Hold on a second. I have this whole process happening right now. Okay. So it's where, because now I have to switch. I just went, oh, yeah, it's all this intimacy with self.
Mhm.
So it really was, we literally found and discovered the imprint of where we compromised for love at the age of 12.
Mhm.
And then we're connecting dots to all of these exiled parts of ourselves. And I love it because there's been so much conversation in the chat. We really like it because we have a chat where everybody can come in and just share their integration and share what they're experiencing, their aha moments, all of that, times of support. And it's been really cool to even have the conversation of it's even okay to feel like something hurts. Like it's
Yes.
even okay to say that instead of being like, yes, I can handle it. Yes, I'm strong. Yes, I'm resilient, all of those things. And also touching into the exiled pieces of ourselves, the parts of ourselves that actually are hurt.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
and now with the work that we do, it's healing those pieces of us, like instead of exiling them, like coming in and, oh, come here, give you a big hug and just really nurture and heal those spaces and those parts so that
Yeah.
now we can mature emotionally. And then now this is how we end up shifting the role.
Yes. The exiled parts has been really big, not only for myself, but I know others in the container, because there were so many places where I didn't realize that the parts were exiled. Like it's unconscious, right? It's the unconscious conditioning. And so for me, right, we always talk about open heart and strong spine and we are resilient, but for me, I realized that there were so many places where there actually was grief, there actually was hurt, there were things that were impacting me that I had brought with me, that 12-year-old brought her along for the ride. And yeah, it's okay to say, I mentally and logically understand something, the context of something, why something is happening, the conditioning that another person is presenting, but that doesn't mean it doesn't hurt.
Mhm. So what are you seeing shifting as you're now becoming aware of those pieces of you, those parts?
I think the biggest thing, and I think this is true for those of us who are in the container as well, is the intolerance for the behaviors that are hurtful. I mean, just simply stated, it's intolerance for behaviors that are helpful and the behaviors that were I mean, the emotion was shame, others to self. So the shame that was unconsciously being um not necessarily projected, but yes, the shame projected from others, but then we are unconsciously carrying the shame with us
Mhm.
throughout our experiences.
Mhm. Yeah, and I literally am noticing that in conversations. I can now see it, I can pick up on it, I can feel it.
Hmm.
I mean, it's so fascinating how much, well, we were talking about it, just before we popped on, and I was sharing about a conversation that I had last night, and I'm blown away by the people in our lives who are the closest to us, who love us and our family members or whatever. And you pick up on, like, I picked up on the shame. I picked up on when I don't even think they're intentionally doing it either. That's the other thing. So, what I've noticed is like this old programming. It's old programming. Every time, so
Yeah.
my role, um, we get to identify the role, and for each person, it's going to be different depending on their imprint. So, my role ended up being the invisible girl. Because at that age, that was the first time that I realized that I was different. I mean, I was in sixth grade. It was my whole experience was like with my imprint was basically moving from elementary into now the bigger school and people going, where do you live? Because in the elementary, everybody knows where you live or has an idea, right? Because you're in these neighborhood schools. But then whenever you graduate from elementary school and you go into a bigger school, for us, literally everyone in the county went to this bigger school. And so I was meeting new friends and stuff like that and new people. And people would say, well, where do you live? And then this is when I found out that I actually lived in low income housing and had no idea. I just thought I lived over here, right? And now all of a sudden I was different. But because I was now realizing I was different, I started to compromise who I was. It was the first time that I actually realized the money stuff. Like I didn't even realize, like money wasn't even a thing. you
Hmm.
know? And so then I started realizing that, and I started to actually compromise, like, and shrink who I was just because I felt different. And it was this shame. It was this shame around money. It was shame around where I lived. It was shame around all that kind of stuff. But I loved where I lived prior to. In fact, I had the best like sledding hill ever. Like everyone in the town came there and was sledding down the hill and stuff. So it was interesting to see like, oh wow, this is actually where I started to compromise myself for love because I literally felt less than because of other people's projection and perception of where I lived.
Mm.
So, invisible girl. Right.
Yeah.
So now we have Invisible Girl. So the role, that's when I realized, oh, okay, I'm just going to be invisible right now because I don't want anyone to see that I'm different in that way. So I became very shy. I became very closed off, all of that. So now, as I'm observing this clear, I can literally, like, when I start feeling like, oh, wow, this person is shaming me, and they don't even realize they're doing it. I started noticing my own programming happening. Like I just started to be an observer of my thoughts. And I started
Mhm.
to notice my own programming of, well, why haven't they included me? And why haven't they done this? And why haven't they done that? And da 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 da. Like starting to all the things. And it wasn't stuff that I actually thought was true. That was the other thing, right? Of going, okay, wait a second. These are the thoughts. I'm observing the thoughts in my mind. Are they true? And it was like, no, they're not. Like they're not true. And so then I had to check in and go, all right, because now we're bringing the unconscious into the conscious.
Mhm.
Am I in the role of invisible girl? And like every single time I was. I was literally in that role of invisible girl at 12 years old, feeling the way I did at 12 years old when this imprint happened, when I was feeling these projections that weren't even intentional.
Mm. Yeah. It's it's really interesting when the projections are coming from a place of a lack of awareness. Um, so many times the projections are not intentional. And also, then you have to start to use discernment, I think. Um, get curious and, like you were saying, be the observer of your thoughts and your responses. Because when we can get curious, that's when we can really create shifts and changes that are, after we have created or collapsed those neural pathways and we're creating the new ones, this is where the new neural pathways get created. And now we're able to show up in our new role. And it's so interesting how, as much as we have done this work over time, we have so many roles that come into our awareness that we're clearing, and we continually get to shift and change those.
Yes. One of the things that I was noticing when I was in these roles, well, so as we were integrating all of this, one of the things that came very clear to me was that these thoughts were happening in my mind, not because I ever wanted to actually be included in things or not because of any of that. It wasn't that. It was actually that I didn't have the choice. So when I got to the like underneath and I started unpacking this for myself, I'm like, oh, my choice was taken from me. That's
Mhm.
actually what I'm upset about, which back then, that's actually what I was upset about. Of going, what do you mean? Like I'm just getting labeled right now? Like,
Right.
what is this? And so I didn't have a choice. But so it's fascinating, even with the conversation I had last night whenever I was checked in and I was like, oh, am I being the invisible girl? Yeah, because I didn't have a choice in what was being said or what I perceived wasn't a choice. But once I had that in my awareness, I was able to actually shift into my new role, which is a woman who loves who she is.
Yeah.
And that's been like so empowering. And so I was able to shift into that role. And then I was able to have choices. And my choice was to actually end the conversation because it wasn't serving either person. It was just, and it wasn't a conflict. It wasn't any of those things. It was just a conversation. But my choice was, yeah, is this how I want to spend my time right now? Yeah, probably not. So I just ended the conversation. And then I went back into and started doing a woman who loves what she is does.
Yeah. I
And
love this.
so when you're talking about like breaking the neural pathways, like collapsing those and creating the new ones, that was a new neural pathway that was created at that moment.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes. And this is when we get to show up in that new role. Going back to choice, that was the main context around being 12 and our choice, like our we were compromised in some way. And at 12, we didn't have a choice. So now that's what we've been carrying with us for all of these years. And so now getting really clear on where we do have a choice. So I love this example of the conversation that you were having. I had a similar experience as well last night where I chose to just remove myself from the situation because it wasn't serving me. It was compromising my energy.
Yeah, the exact same thing. It was just full on it was compromising everything about me.
Yeah.
And I
Mhm.
could feel it. Like I could feel myself literally shrinking and just like like head down and just going, I don't want to be in this conversation right now. And it wasn't anything that was even like that's what I mean. It wasn't anything that was bad. It
Right.
wasn't serving at all. That it
Right.
was it yeah. It just was that. And I just kind of went, oh, I have a choice. When we have a choice, when we realize that we have a choice, this is when we actually get to start creating a life that we love. We get to actually start to choose, just like you. I love that you just went, no, I'm just going to remove myself from this situation.
Yeah, I mean, it's an energy leak and it affects our focus. It affects what we're trying to accomplish. It affects our energy. it affects everything. It affects your life in a way that you don't even have the capacity to realize until it actually comes into your awareness.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about that for a second. Because in
Mhm.
the past, I would have held on to that conversation in a way because I'm a human design 1-3. So I would have totally taken that conversation. I would have overanalyzed it. I would have been like, well, how can I fix it? How can I help? How can I serve? How can I, like, I should be doing more. In fact, to be honest with you, like as I would analyze, then I would start to do some self-judgment and some self-guilt of like, oh, I should have been more aware. How can I be more? How can I be better in this way when the situation that was being spoken about actually had nothing to do with me, you know? And
Um,
so if I use so old programming, it would have taken up so much bandwidth in my head. It
the
would have
shame.
yeah, the shame. It would have been all the um energy and how can I do this? Da, da, da. I would have ended up doing something that I didn't want to do. I would have compromised for love. I would have compromised for love. And
Mm,
instead, I'm choosing to say, I'm going to respond. So I'm going to live my design and respond. There's nothing actually for me to respond to here. So I'm going to go into this whole like, I'm a woman who loves who she is.
I love it. I love it. And just because you choose a boundary and you choose yourself doesn't mean that love doesn't exist, that it's not present,
Hmm.
you know?
Hmm. But when we're talking about intimacy with self, I mean, yeah, I would have totally compromised doing something that I didn't want to do. And not even that the doing something would have been bad. It would have been, you know, I was thinking about maybe I should have a family dinner, or something like that. And so that's what I mean. Like nothing that I think would be bad. It's just it would have compromised who I am right now because I don't have the time and space to coordinate a family dinner right now. So it was something along those lines. And I think that's what, I love Siesta Soul because Siesta Soul is for everyone. Right now, I believe it's all women at the moment.
Mhm.
Um, but it's nice to talk directly to women because I feel like for with women, this is old programming. This is old programming to compromise ourselves for our families, for our loved ones, for our friends, and to also be the answer.
It is. It is it is definitely the programming that we are desperately trying within the collective, I feel like to um I'm not sure what the word I want to use right now, but to break it down, to create new patterns. And I think a really big aspect of all of that is seeing when people are not choosing you. Like our choice was taken away, but when are people not choosing us? And yet we continue to put our energy there. There's
It's so
a
true.
very clear difference.
It's true. And
Yeah.
to be honest, when we are looking at that, let's talk about family. Rarely, rarely are people choosing you. I mean, they are, but you know what I mean. Like, rarely do they think about anything that might be going on in your life. We've actually had this conversation quite a bit, it
Yes.
seems, as we've been moving through this. And it seems like um, everyone is starting to have these aha moments of really realizing not only were they aren't choosing themselves, but that other people, and then trying to live up to other people's expectations that the expectations aren't even, oh, what's the word I want to say? Do you remember that conversation that was in there? It was with a member, and she was talking about how she was letting go of other people's expectations because what she realized is that now that she's letting go of living up to those expectations, she's realizing that nobody even comes back around to see if she
Yes,
lived up to the expectation. And so
right.
that's what I'm trying to get to.
Yes, I know. It's because we put those expectations on ourselves.
Yeah, because we're compromising for love.
Yes, exactly. So many energy leaks, Lori. So many energy leaks. It's unbelievable.
I know, it's totally unbelievable. But I will tell you that my family is also noticing this shift in me, which has been really cool. So it might sound like I'm like, oh no, it's all about me. But the interesting part has been because I'm no longer compromising myself for others or for love, I'm able to now show up in a totally different way. I'm present. I'm present. I don't have resentment. I'm not irritable. I'm not frustrated. And the reason why I would have been frustrated, irritable, resentful, all those things, because the martyr would come out, because I would sit there and go, well, I need to live up to other people's expectations. I need to fix this. I need to be the answer. I need to be this and that, but I don't have the time. I don't have the energy. I had other plans, like there's all these things. And so, yeah, when we're talking about energy leaks, it's like now that I'm shifting into this, no, I'm a woman who loves who she is. I have a choice and I can say, yeah, let's do a family dinner. Why don't you coordinate that and don't tell me when you want to have it? And that's actually what happened. You to put it back over here because and be like, coordinate that and just let me know and we'll be there type thing. Instead of me now taking it on myself in a
hmm
way that didn't even have to happen.
Right, exactly. And not only that, but then what happens when you go ahead, you follow through with the expectation, you coordinate, you do all of the plans, and then you don't know if any, and I don't mean you specifically, but generally speaking, we don't know if people are going to show up. We don't know, you
Oh,
know.
that's totally my family. You know this.
I didn't want to call
My
anybody else.
Oh no, I'll call them out. I'll call them out right now. Like it's true. It's like you don't know. You don't know who's going to show up and then all of it that's when the martyr comes out. And I was like, "Oh no, I'm retiring this martyr." I did that a few days ago. I'm like, "I'm retiring this martyr." And I'm stepping into this woman who loves who she is. And it's been so empowering because I didn't realize with those energy leaks, what came with it was victim mentality that I didn't even realize I had running in the background.
I know, me too, same. And as I step into my new role, I see my new role is actually, I was creative with this one, vibrant, magnetic, liberated woman, because I feel liberated from the compromise. And as I like, it, it comes back to the song that you chose. What is it? What was meant for me knows me well. And it's like
Oh, the
the mag,
lyrics.
yeah,
Yeah.
the lyrics for we always have a song. Lori always chooses a song for every Say Us to Soul Clear. And that's what I'm feeling is the magnetism and the liberation of the knowing that what is meant for me knows me well, and it's going to just be magnetized into my field. And those things that are not, we can let them go.
Yeah. I love that. I love that you're shifting into that role because it's true. Yeah, I can't remember the name of the song or the artist right now, so we'll just put that into the description. I'm just making a note to do that. But when I heard that song and it was those lyrics of what is meant for me knows me well.
Yeah, just full body chills. They're so good. It's so true.
Yeah. And so if we go back to even those lyrics, one of the aha moments that I had this last week when I was doing my integration was how much the universe actually does have my back. And this is why the choices weren't actually given to me. It's because they didn't, it's not where I want to go. It's not where I want to be. It's not where I want to spend my time. It's not creating the life that I love. So if I had had the choice, I would have actually said no. This is why I thought it was so funny because I was so hung up on the choice, right? Of agency, of having
Right.
that choice. But I would have said no to every single one of these. If I would have received invitations to different things, I would have said no. I would have turned down the opportunities or whatever. And the universe really does have your back. It's always aligning because it's not even going to present the doors to you that it doesn't want you to walk through. And so with those lyrics of everything that is meant for you knows meant for me, right? Is it me? Everything that is meant for me knows me
Hmm.
well. It's not even going to present itself. And whenever you have that perspective, it's like everything just gets shaken off and you trust.
Yes, exactly. It's, goes back to the laws of the universe. It's like what we put our attention towards is what we are creating. So we could go in so many different directions with this, but
Mhm.
essentially that's what it is.
Wow. I know. It's so good. Well, is there anything else that you wanted to share about the role and how shifting that role into a role that actually supports us and where we want to go in life and the compromise for love? Is there anything else you wanted to share?
I don't think so right now. I think I'm just, we're in this period where we're implementing, we're landing, and we're embodying that role that we're going to be like allowing to grow and expand in. And I think that it's going to just be fun to see how we show up next.
Mhm.
With every single time we have this, it's just like, who are we going to be now that we aren't compromised and we don't have the projection of shame? So,
Mhm.
anyway.
Yeah, I love that you even talked about that just now and you brought that up because going back to the doors, right? And the door's not even being open because it's not even meant for you to walk through that door. It's going to take you off track. So
Hmm.
ever since I had that shift and now I have this new role, I've been able to heal the invisible girl and now I've been able to transmute that, like shift that into this other role. I now have other opportunities. I have other invitations that have come out of nowhere that I didn't even expect that are 100% more aligned with me and totally lights me up. And it's a full, like, yes, this is what I want to do. And so it's been crazy to even let go of that old programming. And it's been fun to actually start this new programming, this new embodiment of this essence of, no, this is actually where I want to go. I'm like totally letting go of this whole like victim mentality and everything. And now stepping into this, yeah, and creating new experiences and new relationships. It's been really, really cool. It's been fun.
I love that. I love that for you. And yeah, that's one of the things that, again, going back to that song, what is meant for me knows me well. And regardless of who our family, who we choose to love, we always have that choice. We have the choice.
Mhm.
So, anyway.
We do have the choice. No longer exiling our parts, but
Hmm.
bringing them with us. And we have the choice. I just have to say this too. I would have I would have missed these other opportunities if I would have been in the victim mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Like I probably would have even said no just because I didn't feel like it or something, or because I felt bad or I felt shame.
Right.
It's such a low vibrational emotion, right? And so I would have totally missed out on even these other opportunities. So yeah, say yes to soul is cool.
It is cool. Everybody
Mhm.
should join us.
Hmm. I know, it's really cool. All right. Well, if you are interested in getting just a small taste in part of this work, we do a community event called Lunar Journeys, which is amazing. It's where we weave in lunar energy, emotional clearing, the gene keys, if you're into the gene keys, if you're not. it's a great introduction into the Gene Keys. And so, yeah, if you want to have a little taste of that, we are actually offering a code for $5 off if anyone wants to do that. We're really excited.
Yes, please do join us. We would love to have you in that space just to see a little bit about what or learn a little bit about what we do. It's huge. It's huge transformation happening. It's
It
amazing
is.
to witness.
I know, it's super fun. So, yeah, we have that. If you're filling the pool, we'll put the code here in the comments below as well. Um, I don't know if there's anything else to share. Do you have anything?
Mm-mm.
Okay. All right. Well, we will just see you all at the next. Oh, the link is going to be there because we have those events scattered throughout the month. We do lunar journeys every 2 weeks. So we'll put the link there so you can go and check it out and see if there's any of those that you would like to join. So, yeah, until next time, we will see you then. We're going to be a whole different woman on the other side of this clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, see you then. Bye.
Bye.
And live your life today.